How you find Korea?
Amazing.
wonderful.
I've never been here.
Me neither.
Yeah, just have never received that kind of like reception when coming into a country before. So yeah, it kicked off our time here in Seoul amazingly.
I gotta just get some good Korean food, and I did. I want more. I want more.
Why can't it be like that all the time?
That's super random. How does that relate to Barbie?
That's the path.
Hello.
Hello.
Hi. Sorry. Hi.
No problem. Are you enjoying so now? How you find Korea?
Amazing.
wonderful.
I've never been here.
Me neither.
Yeah.
neither.
It's our first time.
I went out to eat last night, even though it was so late, because I was like, I gotta just get some good Korean food, and I did.
Really?
I'm very excited. I've been looking up which restaurants I want to try for a long time now, and I'm very excited. And I just went for a walk around last night. But when we got to the airport yesterday, it was just the fans that were there were so kind and so excited, and I just have never received that kind of like reception when coming into a country before. So yeah, it kicked off our time here in Seoul amazingly.
So this is the first time in movie history that somebody has played Barbie on the big screen. What did it mean to you to play Barbie?
I didn't really feel like I had all the responsibility on my shoulders. I think the idea of that would have been too overwhelming to take on. But because in our world, everyone's Barbie and everyone's Ken. If you're in Barbie land, everyone you see is a Barbie, everyone's a Ken. I kind of felt like I was sharing the responsibility a little bit. And it would have been a bit scary to kind of have all that pressure just on how I'm portraying Barbie. But because I knew everyone was also portraying Barbie, I felt protected in the multiplicity of Barbies. And more importantly, knowing Greta was just directing every aspect of this film. Obviously she's the director, but she wrote the script with Noah Baumbach, and I felt so sure of her that I never had to be scared of anything. I just had to do everything she said, and that's the position I like to be in. Following an amazing leader. Yeah.
Okay. In America, you played a human character in the movie. What is it like to be surrounded by the Barbie, and what did it mean to you too? Yeah.
It was overwhelming. It's like a party that I didn't know I needed and wanted, but I kind of inserted myself in the Barbie dance rehearsals because I knew they were going on, and I had no reason to be there other than I wanted to be surrounded by them and the energy was incredible. Just people so excited to be there, excited to work with Greta, excited to be a part of this like iconic characters, big coming out on screen, and yeah, it also was like it reminded me that the world is not Barbie land, if that makes any sense. It's like we'd walk into rehearsal, and everyone would be so happy and joyful and supportive and excited, and then you like walk back into the real world and kind of be a little bummed about it.
Yeah, no one's waving at each other on the street.
Wait, this is like, why can't it be like that all the time?
Yeah, it's a pretty magical place.
Yeah.
Okay. Greta, I heard that Margot Robbie asked you to work on and direct the scenario. How did you feel about it?
I'd been wanting to work with Margot before any of this happened. I've admired her as an actor, and then I met with her, and I was just so impressed by her as a producer. And then, to be honest, I can't even remember whether it was like an email or a phone call or what it was, but I just had an instinct that this would be sort of exciting and something that felt kind of spiky and sticky. It was like, this has something here, and so I just was gonna go on the journey of writing it, and then it wasn't. And then once I had the script that I'd written with Noah Baumbach, that's when I was like, I can't bear to let anyone else direct it. So I just feel very grateful to be invited on this journey. And then, I don't know, I had just had a baby, so I was kind of delirious, and I think, but like a little bit psychic. And I was like, that's the path.
Okay. Margot, what was it like to watch the reference to the movie for Barbie? I heard everyone watch it together.
The movie references? Yeah, on a Sunday morning, we would do what we ended up calling movie church, where we would go to the Notting Hill Electric Cinema, which is this beautiful cinema in London, and we would watch movies that in some way, you know, were important to Greta, or, you know, a good reference for the movie. And it was not only amazing to watch these brilliant films on a big screen, but to be able to do it with all the cast and crew. Everyone was invited. It was so special. It was my favorite thing. I wish we could have done movie church forever, but it was always applicable to what we were doing, particularly what was coming up, whether it was watching His Girl Friday right before we had a ton of dialogue and, you know, Greta wanted that snappy dialogue, and or whether it was, you know, the red shoes for like the reference, the color, sort of pop of color, just as Rodrigo's coming up with our color chart of Techno Barbie, ended up calling it. Whatever it was, sometimes you would hear the movie and you're like, that's super random. How does that relate to Barbie? And then Greta would stand up and she's like, okay. And then she'd explain it. And like all her direction, you're like, wow, that makes total sense now. But it was great. That was one of my favorite parts of the whole process.
Okay. I think everyone is already excited by the trailer itself. How did you feel about it? Any comments or
The trailers?
reaction? Yes.
Oh yeah. Well, I feel like the very first teaser that came out was the 2001 Space Odyssey opening. Honestly, that was super exciting. That was like the first bit of thing that we dropped, and it was on Avatar, and it was just really exciting. It was like the first little taste of it, and then it had like those quick cuts at the end, and I thought, this is the movie, but it's also just this tiny little edge of it.
Yeah.
And I felt when people seemed excited by it, I was like, well, if you like this, you might like the next thing. And then just everything that we've released, it's been so fun to just like open the door a little bit wider to this crazy world. And that every moment they're like, oh, I like that. I want more. I'm like, yes, well, good. There's a whole movie.
Yeah, that first teaser was just so exciting because I think it encapsulates Greta's genius. You know, the reference to a Kubrick film is probably not expected for a Barbie movie, but the fact that Barbie's staying there as the monolith, as this kind of thing in that movie that causes this revolution, and then, you know, making that, it's a little tongue-in-cheek, but it's also very clever, and it's also got a great film reference. I think that is so Greta's genius, and it also gives you the idea of scope and visual spectacle that you can expect with the movie. But yeah, it was so fun to see people's reaction, just immediately people be intrigued, and knowing that we still have so much more, that even in the more recent trailers we're still holding back so much. There's so much when people go to the movies, they're not even going to be able to, yeah, you know, sometimes you watch trailers at the moment and you're like, oh, now I've seen the whole movie. I wasn't scared without trailers because I was like, oh no, there's so much more, you don't even know what's coming.